Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your Royal Rumble 2017 preview and predictions. This show is easily the best built non-SmackDown exclusive show that we have had since SummerSlam. There are some crazy predictions going out there. Vegas has no clue who's going to win this. Triple H has already been quoted saying he likes how unpredictable the Rumble is this year. One of the odds-on favorites to win the thing just got pulled out of it on Monday Night Raw. And John, this is just chaotic.
Oh, brother, I cannot wait for this show. More specifically, I can't wait to talk about this show. I've had in my mind certain booking decisions for a while that I can't wait to share with the TwitWow faithful. And I agree with you wholeheartedly, both on the unpredictability of this show in a positive sense and how well built it's been, particularly the Rumble match itself and the WWE Championship match. I feel like are two of the best built matches on this card. And dude, if WWE plays its cards right, this will be a great way to start 2017 as far as shows are concerned for their end. So I'm quite looking forward to it.
Absolutely. And I got to tell you, brother, this is one of the hardest cards that I've had to pick. Not even necessarily the whole card, which there were some challenging matches, but the Rumble match itself is one of the toughest matches for me to pick and to make decisions on. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because I feel like there isn't really any one standout guy that could win this year, or maybe because I feel like the one guy who has the best odds of winning isn't even announced for the match yet. And another guy that has pretty good odds of winning, if he can be healthy for the match, again, hasn't been announced yet. So it's a big toss-up. There's a lot of question marks, but we have a while before we get to the Rumble. Remember, guys, Royal Rumble preview predictions is very much game-like, and stage one is the traditional preview predictions. We're going to go through each match and tell you guys who we think is going to win each one. So, John, let's talk about the pre-show matches and the one with easily the least ramifications, Sasha Banks. I think we agree on this one.
Yeah, I think Nia Jax is winning. I think they want to give her some momentum, especially considering that Sasha Banks did get the better of Nia Jax on the go-home show. I think they're going to want to have Nia roar back full force. You don't really have a good monster character if they can't win on the pay-per-view. So I think Nia Jax gets a win here after a pretty competitive bout.
Yeah, definitely. I agree, by the way. I also have Nia Jax. And ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that haven't been around for previous Royal Rumble preview predictions, I got a bunch of predictions, and we kind of worked together with my mom on this because the Royal Rumble is 30 people, so it's more interesting if you have predictions between 3 people rather than just 2. And my mom actually picked Sasha Banks. I don't really know how informed that opinion was, but maybe it was just because Sasha looked strong against Nia on Raw. Regardless, John, you and I both picked Nia. Match 1. Match 2, this is maybe a little more interesting because it has championships on the line and a weird stipulation, but Cesaro and Sheamus versus Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows for the Raw tag titles. And just straight up, I picked Cesaro and Sheamus, as did my mom. This was a really easy pick for me. I don't think WWE is serious about pushing Anderson and Gallows. I think they're just building them up just enough to be able to feed them back to Cesaro and Sheamus.
I completely agree with your assessment. I really see the whole 2-ref stip as kind of a smokescreen. I think the whole story really is to further validate Sheamus and Cesaro as a team. Like, oh yeah, we had that bad, stroke of luck with Sheamus accidentally hitting the ref, but when push comes to shove, we are a legitimate team. We can hang on to the gold. Sheamus and Cesaro for the win here, which is a shame because I love the club, but it's just Sheamus and Cesaro's time right now in the tag division until possibly the revival comes up in my mind. So yeah, they retain.
Yeah. Okay. So pick as well, but now things start getting a little bit more interesting because here is somebody who has only been champion for a month or two going against a super hot act, Rich Swann versus Neville. You know what? I went first last time. I'll let you go for this first this time, but again, this is a pretty easy pick. I think we agreed.
I was more torn on this than others, but in the end, I did come down on the side of the heel. I think Neville's got all the momentum right now, including what he did in the UK tournament, which I thought was a nice touch. I think they're going to want to go all the way with him. In fact, if you want my honest opinion, I think we could very easily see Neville versus Alexander at WrestleMania for the Cruiserweight Championship, and I think that begins on this show. So Neville's going to beat Swan for the title.
I absolutely agree. I've got Neville winning as well. And Neville is, he's not exactly the kind of heel that I would hope that a heel Neville would be. I preferred him as the NXT champion going up against Sami Zayn, where he wasn't this full-blown, like, fiery, angry, I hate you fans kind of heel. He was just like this calm, Terminator-esque, I do what it takes to win heel, and I wish they would implement that more in his main roster character. But either way, he's absolutely incredible in the ring, so it's going to be a fun match.
Absolutely.
Another title match, but not a men's world title match. Charlotte versus Bayley. I went the easy route here, maintaining the streak. Charlotte retains and probably cheats to do so, but whatever.
I completely agree with you on all counts, and there's not really much I can add to that. I think Bayley's character is one predicated on struggle. She's going to continue to struggle, and Charlotte's going to extend her streak. Enough said.
Do you agree with me that I think Charlotte is going to end up losing her first pay-per-view championship defense at Mania and probably to Bayley?
Yeah, I mean, that seems like perfect table setting to me if there ever was one, which could also lend one to believe that WWE wasn't going to do it, but I choose to be an optimist in this case, and I completely agree with you.
Chose Bayley, and for the previous one, she picked Neville. Up next, match number 5, Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns, no disqualification, and Chris Jericho suspended in a shark cage. John, I think we have the same pick on this, but I'm curious how you reached your conclusion, so let the people know.
Well, this is where it starts to get fun because I'm picking Kevin Owens to retain. Reason for that is simple. I'm going back to old school logic that has a pretty split success rate, admittedly. You had Kevin Owens and Jericho come out on top for 2 straight weeks of television, taking the U.S. title off of Reigns in the handicap match, and then powerbombing him through the announce table the week prior to the go-home show this week. But on the go-home show, Reigns got the upper hand and humiliated Kevin Owens, and it's a no DQ match. See, to me, the deck is seeming really stacked in favor of the face. The heel opposition in Jericho is being neutralized. It's no DQ, so he can use all of his power and acumen, but that's a double-edged sword. I think Kevin Owens is going to find a way to win, and he's going to find a way to keep his Universal Championship. So I'm going with maybe an unpopular pick with a lot of people. I'm thinking Owens retains.
It's funny. I'm starting to realize that with the only exceptions being Neville and the Rumble match itself, my mom actually picked all faces to win because she actually did pick Roman Reigns to beat Kevin Owens for the Universal Championship. I, however, on the other hand, am thinking more along the lines of what you said. I think that the way that they sent us out on Raw made Owens look really weak, and you need him to kind of get that heat back. So I think he is going to beat Roman via very much cheaty means, via shenanigans, via whatever means possible. But at the end of the day, by hook or by crook, a win is a win, and Owens needs a win pretty bad right now.
I completely agree with you. I'm not even going to add anything to that.
Well, 6th match of the night and the last match before we get to the Rumble itself, John. The face that runs the place versus the champ that runs the camp. Cena versus Styles, World Championship. Is Cena getting number 16 on Sunday?
If you're fielding that question to me first, my answer is no, but I'm going to qualify that, and this may be where you and I finally diverge because we've seemed to be really on the same page for most of this. I think Cena's going to win, but by disqualification, because I was really racking my brain on this today. I said, okay, we know at Chamber that the WWE Championship is going to be defended, but I still can't see Cena winning the title. So I thought, well, what better heel logic? AJ cheats to retain here, even though he gives up a loss, But then at Chamber, he's going to be trapped inside with 5 other guys and everything's legal. So he doesn't have that champion's advantage. So I think AJ is going to exploit that champion's advantage to get one step closer to WrestleMania. But then he's going to have to be as phenomenal as he can be inside the Chamber. So Cena wins, but by disqualification.
Very interesting. Very interesting. I actually had Cena penciled in as the winner of this match right up until this episode of SmackDown happened, because this episode of SmackDown, Cena cut one of his "you're not even a guy from Atlanta, you're just a guy," like basically burying Styles on the mic. And every time he does that, he loses. So I've got Styles winning this.
And that makes all the sense in the world to me. And for the record, I even kind of hated myself for having AJ win that way, because ever since his win at SummerSlam, like, AJ should be a heel that just goes out there and takes care of his business. But with the way John Cena's been talking right now, I can never trust WWE to give AJ that respect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I wanted to kind of mediate that.
If you think about it, the WWE wants to be able to publicize Cena's 16th win, and they legitimately have not advertised that Cena is even vying for a championship at the Rumble.
Right.
So I think if they are going to have Cena win his 16th title and tie Ric Flair's record, they're going to make a way bigger deal about it. And it'll either be on a SmackDown exclusive show so that there aren't any other world title matches and he can stand alone as the star, or it'll be at WrestleMania itself, because that's kind of where these big moments are meant to be at. So I'm picking Styles. And I also wanted to point out that this is really interesting. AJ Styles is from Atlanta, Georgia, and is an Atlanta Falcons fan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cena happens to be from Boston, Massachusetts, where he rooted for the New England Patriots.
Oh, boy.
Super Bowl preview happening at the Royal Rumble. And I'm picking AJ Styles to win. So I'm spiritually picking the Atlanta Falcons to beat the New England Patriots, which you guys already know I want to happen anyway. So just figured I'd throw that out there. I think that's an interesting narrative. I don't even think that was intentional. It couldn't have been intentional. Like, WWE didn't know who was going to be in the Super Bowl when they started building to this feud. So I just think it's really cool that Styles, the kid from Atlanta, Georgia, versus Cena, the Boston, Mass native, is going to be happening literally a week to the day before an Atlanta, New England Super Bowl.
Well, by that logic, I kind of feel like crap now for picking Cena to win, even though AJ retains what matters. But I'm still sticking to my guns. Go Falcons, though. All the freaking way.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, the time has come, John. You've been going first, I think 2, maybe even 3 picks in a row. So I'll just come right out and say it. He hasn't been announced yet, but I've got to go out on a limb. I guarantee you I'm going to regret doing this, and I've regretted doing it in the past, but screw it. You got to risk it to get the biscuit. I'm picking Samoa Joe to debut at and win the Royal Rumble.
Oh, what the shit is this? 10 minutes before we go live, I'm like, oh, man, brother, it's going to be so great sharing the ship with you, man. Twit wow, ride or die. And then this happens. Oh, my God, you were taken in by his power and his awesomeness. You insanely
No, I want to correct you on that. What's happening right now is I'm remembering the 2014 Royal Rumble, where going into it, everyone was saying, oh, it's going to be Batista. It's going to be Batista. They're going to give it to Batista. But you, in all of your wisdom, saw how well they were building Roman Reigns and how well he performed at the Survivor Series. And you said, no. Roman Reigns is going to break Kane's elimination record and win. And you were only half right, but he still made it to the final 2 and then crushed everyone's dreams by losing. So I am not going to allow my dreams to be crushed by Sami Zayn not winning the Royal Rumble. And therefore, I am refusing to allow myself to pick him. I'm going with Joe.
Well, guys, the cat's out of the bag. That was my big pick. I couldn't wait to share with you guys because I am, and it's got to be hilarious coming from me, I am picking Sami Zayn to win the 2017 Royal Rumble match. And honestly, guys, at first it was just an educated hunch, and I'll get into that in a second. But after the events of this past Monday, I feel like my pick got seriously bolstered because A, Sammy was the only guy that's had to earn his spot, And 2, he had to earn it at the expense of Seth freaking Rollins. I mean, if that's not a stamp of approval, I don't know what is. And then I thought about it, and I know this is going to sound like weak logic. Hell, I'll even concede that it is. But I agree with Triple H that the Rumble's unpredictable. I would not be surprised if Sammy got thrown out, and then I just go, welp, and I give a big shoulder shrug, aka, also Toriano, channeling my inner Toriano. But I look at all the star-studdedness, and it just seems too obvious. Like, we know Goldberg and Lesnar aren't going to win, but at the same time, it does seem a little obvious. Like, oh, Taker's in it? Of course, he's the Undertaker. And Braun Strowman, with how dominant he is. And then I think more about Braun Strowman. He's the only one alongside Zayn for as far back as before Survivor Series. And that was what I was thinking of. For Survivor Series, to be on Team Raw, they had a Battle Royal. Who were the final 2 in that Battle Royal? Zayn and Strowman. Strowman eliminated Zayn. And of course, everybody knows their rivalry, so I'm not going to give a shot-by-shot recap, but they have had a history for the past few months now, and every single time, hell, even that 6-man that they had the week before the go-home show, didn't Strowman pin Zayn again? So Strowman's had Sammy's number every turn. I think Sammy's finally going to get his, and he's going to get his when it really matters. I think it's going to come down to Zayn Strowman. Sami Zayn's going to eliminate Braun Strowman, and it's going to be Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens at WrestleMania, because you have a built-in fucking story, and don't even think WWE's doing it for the creativity. They're doing it for the fucking day off, because the story practically writes itself. So, honestly, from a fan perspective, obviously I don't want Sami to win. I've never been crazy about him, but I've always given him credit objectively, and you will get an insane babyface pop, especially if you have him come in at number 1. I think it'd be foolish to not have him go to distance after already having him earn his number. If you're going to do the struggle, fucking commit and get the biggest babyface pop you can. I think this is his year. It's his year to me. So, yeah.
I see why you say that, and I was buying into it so much to the point that I almost picked Sammy, that I had Sammy written down as my pick coming into this recording and literally changed it like right after I got done doing my intro. So I fully accept that there is a really strong possibility that Sami Zayn wins, but let me tell you why I think it's a better option for him to lose.
Okay.
The idea that I came up with that I think is likely, it's not one of those things where it's this like out of nowhere fantasy booking, whatever. You have Samoa Joe debut, have it come down to Sammy and Strowman, have Sammy find a way to eliminate Strowman, and have Joe come out of nowhere and eliminate Sammy.
Oh, that heat, though.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm alluding to. You have Samoa Joe debut, you have him wait around, you have him kind of play kind of like obviously as soon as he gets out, he's going to dominate, he's going to beat a few people, probably get 2 or 3 eliminations, but eventually things are going to kind of die down a little bit. He's going to be hiding in a corner, maybe he rolls out under the ropes and hides under the ring, and there's this big dramatic buildup to Sami Zayn and Braun Strowman being the final 2. Sammy finds a way to do it. Maybe Strowman charges at him and he ducks down and pulls down the ropes, tosses Strowman over, and then you get this big celebration. But then next thing you know, the bell doesn't ring. Joe comes in, eliminates Sammy, breaks the hearts of everyone, including Zayn himself, and really cements himself as one of the top 2 or 3 heels on the main roster in the same night he debuts.
Now, as a fan, I love everything you just said, because there is nothing more satisfying to me than laughing at somebody when they failed at something they've worked their entire lives for. And I would do that for the next week at Sami Zayn. Don't you? Oh my God, me. It'd be delicious. That said, on a more serious note, I get where you're coming from, and that's the beauty of this Rumble, because I look at both of our logics, and normally, and I'll concede, I always feel like 9 times out of 10, my logic's the bit shakier of the two. I think we're on equal footing, you and I, this year. I don't think either one of us is really saying anything too crazy.
Absolutely. I agree. And the thing is, a big reason that I went with Joe is because I just can't imagine WWE saying Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens. That's main event of WrestleMania material right there. I just don't see that.
I don't see it either. Can you still hear me?
Really, really, really horrible quality. What happened to your mic?
My foot kind of tripped it. I think it unplugged it. I can't even believe you could still hear me, actually. So just bear with me, guys, while I reconnect here. Can you hear me now? Any better?
Yeah, much better.
Oh, wow. I actually apparently don't even need the plugin. So you're telling me? Oh, that's interesting. Okay, well, then I'll just keep talking. I really apologize for that, guys. My foot had a slip.
You still sound really echoey, dude. I mean, you're not as loud and obnoxious as you were when the thing first came undone, but still, plug it back in.
Yeah, let me see here. But okay, do I sound any better?
Technical difficulties, people. It's happening.
Do I sound any better?
Yeah, that's much better.
Okay, there we go. So I did plug it in. We're good, guys. I fucking hate this thing. It ruins my life. Ruining my life. But yeah, Sami Zayn, to me, I look at it, I think him winning a Rumble this big, first of all, that makes him, to me, a main event talent overnight. I wish the build could have been better, honestly, because I really don't like the way he's been handled, and you know that. Again, speaking from an objective point, because he is one hell of a talent. He is one hell of a babyface. You got to use what you got or just get rid of it. But honestly, the whole Strowman feud has made me really believe maybe they did have bigger things in mind with Sami, because they even teased the whole trade with him. And like he's had to prove his worth, even Survivor Series with The Miz before that. Mick's always gone to bat for Sami. Stephanie's always hated him. Stephanie's always made him kind of prove his worth because she didn't even want to draft him. So I think this is a story of a guy proving that he belongs on the Raw brand. And he even told Kevin Owens, hey, when I get my run with the Universal Championship, I'm going to do it better than you did because, you know, you of course pointed out Triple H handed you that title, and I'm going to be a better champion than you are. So I think Sami, like this year, this whole arc he's been on really has been, again, his actual character, the underdog from the underground, and really validating his existence on the Raw brand. And I've just noticed the little things and the little interactions he's had in the months leading up to the Rumble. And yeah, like this is the one time where even if it does seem a bit out there, I really don't feel crazy making it, especially again after the go home show. When they gave him that, I'm like, no, it went from an out on the margins pick to a definite possibility. But at the same time, I totally get where you're coming from with Joe. What a better way to debut somebody than to have him win the Royal Rumble. It's pretty much what you did with Corbin, except for much bigger stakes, because you're talking going to fucking WrestleMania and in like, I don't know, probably your fifth ever match at that point, you're competing for the world title. It's nuts, but it's the perfect way to book somebody like Joe. So again, I'll keep echoing Foster's sentiments. I love that the Rumble is so unpredictable. I love that we really don't know who's going to come out with it.
Yeah. So the reason you went with Sami Zayn is perfectly logical. I'm not trying to debate you. I actually agree with you for the most part. But my reasoning is I don't think WWE sees Sami Zayn as a WrestleMania main eventer. I think they see him as a main event caliber talent, but I don't think they see him as the main event of WrestleMania. And because of that, I'm going with the guy that I know they see as a main event of WrestleMania, a guy that has already main evented multiple NXT takeovers with Nakamura, with Balor, etc. Even with, I think, well, they didn't main event, but he had a takeover match with Zayn too, didn't he?
No, I think those were all NXT.
It was like a 2 out of 3 falls match on an episode of NXT though. But yeah, I think that WWE sees money in Joe. I think that they see Joe as a guy who could challenge Brock Lesnar and look credible. I think that Joe is one of the rare guys who has kind of the combination of charisma, in-ring ability, and intimidating factor to kind of be we said this about Kevin Owens, so I'm hesitant to say it again, but they could see Joe as their full-time version of Brock Lesnar. Again, we said that about Owens and it didn't work out, but I feel like Joe is more intimidating than Owens because Owens has always been more like work rate and cutting like witty promos, whereas Joe just has that pure like I'm gonna murder your face kind of thing.
You know what's funny though? Like nothing about what you just said is wrong, but it's funny that you're saying, oh, like they envision him as a WrestleMania main event. When I feel like the last few Rumble winners, well, I mean Roman Reigns, but it was Roman Reigns, so I almost feel like that doesn't count. But like some Rumble winners haven't even been like the last match. They've been like even the first match. I remember Del Rio the year he won. They were the fucking opener. That was
also 6 years ago, brother.
Yeah, but at the same time, if you're not Roman Reigns, it's also been kind of a trend. I actually think Goldberg Lesnar's main eventing this year, if you want the honest truth.
Well, figure this year, this past year, Triple H won and went into Mania as the champion. So obviously he main evented. Year before that, it was Roman. He main evented. Year before that, it was Batista. He main evented. Year before that, 2013, wasn't it Cena and he main evented?
Those are all really big names, except for Roman, but he's the pet project. I don't know. I'm still sticking to my guns, and you know what? I think Sami Zayn, while on his own, he may not be a WrestleMania main eventer. I'll even give you that. I think the story he'd have with the champion, if handled right, that is worthy of a WrestleMania main event. So while the performer may not be, the story he could be contributing to certainly is. But I don't even think that's going to happen. I think Goldberg Lesnar's going to main event, so it's inconsequential who wins the Rumble. Because I don't see either of them winning the Rumble, but I still see him main eventing, which is a fucking crock, but it is what it is.
So a little bit of an impromptu addition here. We actually do have a match that was added to the Royal Rumble card from SmackDown that I didn't even know about because it wasn't announced on SmackDown. We have Becky Lynch, Naomi, and Nikki Bella teaming up to take on Alexa Bliss, Mickie James, and Natalya. I'm going to guess Mickie James pins Becky Lynch for the win on the heel side.
I'm going to agree with you there. I'm not even going to try and waffle on this in my mind. Heels win. So.
All right. So now that we've all had our discussions about the Royal Rumble winner, let's play round 2 of our Rumble pick'ems, because the first round was just pick who you think's going to win. Second round, though, we've got confidence-based picks. And this is where things get interesting, John, because we are picking not just the winner, which we both already picked, but we have certain confidence values assigned to how confident we are in that winner. But we also have Final Four, most eliminations, who will last the longest in the Rumble, who will last the least amount of time in the Rumble, who will be the first person eliminated, who will be the last person eliminated, and we'll be predicting who will be the numbers 1, 2, and 30 entrants into the Royal Rumble match. Do you want to start, or should I?
I'll start. Now, are we just going to run down our entire list slowly, or
no,
are we going to go back and forth?
one by one, brother.
All right, well, I'll start at the very top. The Rumble winner, of course, I picked Sami Zayn. Right. My confidence, I gave a full 12 points to that pick.
Well, it's not full because we have 13 categories. But
I mean, that's true, but Sami Zayn got my second most confidence as the winner. So, yeah, 12 points.
All right. I went with Joe. If I would have went with Sami, my confidence would have been like a 5. I went with Joe, and my confidence in him is a 7. So still not super duper confident, but I'm also playing the odds very much. And Joe is, to me, the person who I would have been the most confident in picking. So 7 for me for Joe. And now we get to the Final Four. John, we know here's the thing. We know that you have Sami Zayn in your Final Four, but how much confidence do you have in that pick?
Full confidence, 13 points.
Woo, buddy. Holy balls. That's insane. Okay. Wow. My number 1, although you might think I'm insane too, because my most confidence was who I thought would last the longest. I'm very confident in that pick. But I am in somebody being in the Final Four is actually Braun Strowman, and I gave him 11 points.
He was my Final Four number 2, actually. We'll just keep the ball rolling because I gave it to Braun Strowman also at a point value of 11 points.
Oh, interesting. So we actually are both very confident that Strowman will be in the Final Four. Next one for me is going to be a little bit out of left field, but he's clearly a baby face based on the reaction he got on Raw and based on the way they're portraying him. I think that WWE wants him to be associated with Strowman, probably building up to a Fastlane match. So I went Big Show in my Final Four, and I gave that a point value of 10.
My Final Four number 3, which I actually also gave a point value of 10, was Baron Corbin.
Oh, you think Corbin's going to be in the Final Four? That's interesting.
He's the only really built SmackDown guy, so I think he's going to make quite a showing. Plus, he won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, so.
Well, that's true. The only other SmackDown guy I could see, actually, I could see Miz in the Final Four, and the guy I was going to mention, Orton. I could see Orton having a big role in this Rumble.
Yeah.
That said, though, my third. Wait. Oh, yeah. Wait. Did I mention? Oh no, you went first for this because you said that Zayn you gave Zayn 13. Then I said I gave Strowman 11. You gave Strowman 11. I gave Show 10. You gave Corbin 10. I also have Sami Zayn in my final four. As I said, I have him getting thrown out last by Samoa Joe, which is a spoiler for later. I gave Zayn being in the final four a 9. So Zayn being in the final four.
My final person in the final four. Funny thing is, I waffled a lot between the name that I picked and Samoa Joe. I just couldn't commit to Joe. I wanted to commit to what was right in front of me, probably to my detriment in this case. I picked The Undertaker, but realizing it could be to my detriment, I only gave that 4 points of confidence.
Nice. That's a smart pick though, because he is gonna have to enter late because of how old he is. How he's unless something maybe happens where he gets eliminated quickly, but he's the Undertaker, so I doubt that. You just never know with him. My final four is the only guy that needs to be in the final four that because I have him winning, Samoa Joe, and I gave him 8 points of confidence. So I want Joe to win, but I'm not supremely confident in it. I have his winning confidence is a 7 and his final four confidence is an 8, and I don't have any other points on him in this entire thing because he is not even announced yet. So I kind of hedged my bets with him a little bit.
Hey, bro, I totally understand that. Good stuff.
Up next, I'm pretty sure we have the same answer for this. Who's going to have the most eliminations? You've been going first this whole time, so I'll go first this time. I have Braun Strowman with the most eliminations, and I am so confident in that I gave him 12 points.
I have less confidence than you in that, surprisingly, probably because I put so much confidence elsewhere, as you know. I also have Braun Strowman. I only gave that 8 points, though.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Now we get to the interesting stuff, though. Who's going to last the longest in the Royal Rumble, John?
I picked Sami Zayn for 7 points.
Okay. You think Zayn's going to come out really early, and then obviously you have him winning the whole thing, so that would make sense. I don't have Zayn coming out particularly early, maybe in like the mid-teens, but the person that I do have coming out early and lasting for a really long time, despite not making it into the Final Four, is with my full 13 points of confidence, Dean Ambrose.
Oh, so you think Dean Ambrose is going to kind of Iron Man it up, go to distance, but not get the win to show for it. Interesting.
Absolutely. I think Dean Ambrose is going to kind of take over that Cody Rhodes role in the Rumble where he's just the pure workhorse. He comes in early. He makes everyone look good. He has some elimination teases, but he keeps saving himself. And then at the end of the day, he gets eliminated by a super hot heel that WWE wants to get over. Probably Strowman, to be fair.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised by that at all.
Ambrose, longest lasting, I gave him 13 points. Shortest lasting is interesting because to me, for a lot of these, there's no sure thing. It's not like, oh, well, that's definitely going to happen. They're building up that guy's going to last long, or they're building up that guy's not going to last long, or whatever. So I kind of had to come up with, in my head, who I envisioned having a short stint in the Rumble. And I actually went with somebody who is usually in the Rumble for a while, but I think that because of the circumstances this year, will get eliminated quickly. The Big Show.
That makes sense. To me, I always struggle with categories like shortest lasting and first eliminated. So to save myself, I didn't put a lot of confidence behind it. I just put shortest lasting Heath Slater. I only gave that 1 point.
Yeah, just to be clear to the people in chat that are trying to play along with points, it's not just a scale of 1 to 13 and you can assign like 10, 12, 13 to every pick. It's whatever you're the least confident in gets 1 point, and then every pick has to have a point value between 1 and 13 assigned to it. You can't have multiple picks with the same value. That's just silly. So I'm sorry, John, who was your shortest lasting?
Heath Slater, I only gave that 1 point, though.
So you're, it's kind of a dartboard at the wall kind of thing, not really confident at all. Yeah, that makes sense. So then if he's going to be the quickest person between the time they enter and the time they get eliminated, who is going to be the first person to be eliminated? I'm curious.
Again, for these categories, I never really know, so I didn't really assign much
John,
point.
Nobody does.
I just picked R-Truth. I gave that 2 points.
All right, yeah, that makes sense. Truth, maybe he like shows up and like sets up a ladder again, or I don't know, does something ridiculous. Maybe he like gets on the outside of the ring like he's in a tag team match and someone tags him in and then he gets hip tossed over the top rope or something
Right.
wacky like that. My pick for the first person eliminated is gonna break your heart, and I'm sorry, but I feel like the way they've been treating him, it wouldn't even surprise me. Rusev.
Oh God, dude, don't even mention that name to me because he deserves so much better than what he's been getting. But I totally see where you're coming from.
You know what's funny too? I saw someone in chat mention Titus. If anyone is being built to last the least amount of time in the Rumble, it would be Titus. But the reason I didn't go with him is because they've already tried to entrust him with breaking the record for the least amount of time in the Rumble, and he botched it. So why would they trust him to do that again?
Didn't he even miss his window to be in the Rumble this year? I thought he wasn't going to be in it because of all the New Day crap.
No, but at the end of the day, when you trust the guy to break a record and it's the easiest thing ever, you literally just get in the ring and then backflip over the top rope by a lariat, and he botches, and it, because of that, you can't break the record you wanted to break. And then like the next year, I think the Godfather returned and ended up breaking the record.
Right.
Like you never ever trust that guy with anything important ever again. And because of that, I don't think it'll be Titus. He'll probably get in and have some smaller guys jump on him and do his, backbreaker over the knee and then throw the guy a few times. And then eventually maybe like Big E will throw him out or something. I don't know. But yeah, I went with Rusev to be the first person eliminated because I have him entering like anywhere from like 3 to 6 or so, and I think he's going to get eliminated within probably 90 seconds of entering.
Right. Yeah, makes sense to me, man.
Okay, so up next we have who's going to be the last person eliminated, and we all kind of have an idea of who you and I are both going to pick. I personally am picking Sami Zayn because I think him thinking he won and then Joe eliminating him would be the best heel heat Joe's ever had. And John, your pick?
Strowman for 9 points. Let me just double check that.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. I forgot to. I gave Rusev being the first person eliminated 5 points. I gave Big Show being the quickest elimination 6 points, and I'm giving Zayn, the last person eliminated, 4 points. So those are kind of middle of the pack, but low end of the middle of the pack. Number one entrant. I think I went first on the last category, so I'll let you go first on this one. Who's your number one entrant, John?
Just to be clear, you did get that I picked last eliminated Braun Strowman for 9 points. That's all. Okay. Number one, Sami Zayn. I gave that 6 points.
Wow, you're that confident that Zayn is going to come out first.
Dude, a lot of my Rumble focus is on Zayn and Strowman as a pair, and that's where a lot of my points have been going. So yeah, I'm confident he's coming in early.
Yeah, I'm looking, and you have 15, 23. Holy nuts, 47. You have 59 points riding on the duo of Zayn and Strowman.
Yeah, dude. We'll see.
That is insane. It might even be more than it. Might actually even be more than that now that I'm looking at it, because it's 15 there, so that's 30. 30 plus 23 plus 13, so 30 plus 30, 36. So yeah, you've actually got 66 or 67 points riding on that duo. That is my number one entrant. I only put 1 point on Chris Jericho being the number one entrant because I think it would be hilarious after being locked in a shark cage earlier in the night.
Yeah, I know, right? It just doesn't let up for him. I completely
They
see
could
where you're
even
going.
do the best transition ever, where you have Reigns versus Owens go on last before the Rumble, and then after that match is over, and as Jericho's being lowered down to the ring, he starts walking up the ramp, and then his music hits. That would be amazing.
Right.
Like, nope, stay out there, Jericho. You're number one. What a horrible way to have a number one entrant. Like, oh, I hope they do that. I want it so bad. That's my favorite fantasy booking that I've done for the Rumble so far tonight. So, that was my number one, and my number two is actually Dean Ambrose because Jericho is a heel. I feel like Jericho and being all miserable and grumpy, and people, booing him and all that stuff. And then Ambrose's music hits and Jericho gets this look on his face like, no, that's the guy that put 69 thumbtacks in my body, would be comedy gold. And they typically like to give 1 and 2 to a couple guys that can work a good match by themselves before number 3 comes out. And Jericho and Ambrose have already had a few really good matches. So very, very confident in that. And again, I have Dean Ambrose being my longest lasting. So him coming out early is key to that happening, which is why I have him coming out at number 2. John, who comes out at number... Oh, and I have 2 points assigned to Ambrose at number 2. 1 for Jericho, 2 for Ambrose. You have coming out at number 2.
I really love the logic behind all of your, thinking. I really didn't have the same kind of logic going into it. I just thought, they'd want to start the Rumble with 2 great workers, which, I mean, you said 2, but yours actually had a story incorporated with it. I picked Cesaro coming in at number 2, and I only gave that 5 points. So.
Okay. Well, they have history too, though. It's not like there's nothing there. They have, they battled in NXT. They have some history. It's kind of odd though, because that's a face-face dynamic. I'm a little bit confused by that.
Right.
The Royal Rumble, it's supposed to be every man for himself and everything, but WWE, being WWE, still tends to try and maintain a face-heel dynamic for the most part.
Right. I just look at it as Cesaro's a phenomenal worker, Zayn is a phenomenal worker, and they want a well-worked kind of thing for the first little bit. So I think they're going more for the pop and look at the wrestlers we have on display rather than anything else, because I think that'll come in the later numbers. So I was just keeping it simple.
Yeah, that's cool, man. All right, well, final category here. Who was your number 30 entrant?
You think I'd have more confidence in this, but I really didn't. I picked for my number 30, The Undertaker. He was number 30 in 2007. Wouldn't be surprised if he was number 30 10 years later. However, I only gave that 3 points. Who's your number 30?
Oh, okay. Dude, that's amazing. My number 30 entrant also has a confidence value of 3 points, but I gave it to The Big Show because I think that it's going to come down to a few guys in the ring with Strowman being in there and running amok. And then Big Show is going to come out and we're thinking like, oh man, Big Show, he's going to give Strowman a run for his money. And then Strowman's going to eliminate Big Show within like 5 seconds. It's going to be so fast. It's going to be amazing.
What's so funny about both of our picks is they actually do have a history of being number 30 in the Royal Rumble. Taker again was 07. Yeah. I believe Show was number 30 in 04. So
I think Show was number 30 in like 12 or 13 as well. He was number 30 relatively recently, I think, or at least 29.
Right. So yeah, that's crazy that we're just going to that well. And yeah, we'll see, man. But I'm really excited for this Rumble match.
You know what? This is what makes Abel amazing. He just posted in chat that Taker was number 30 in 1997 and he was number 30 in 2007. So he has to be number 30 for 2017 as well. I love that. You know what? That kind of makes me want to change my pick, but I won't because I don't know if Vince even realizes that.
He's not that clever, but Abel is because he's amazing. We love you, Abel. Yeah. But I also love that he put in chat that I'm banking on Zayn to have a Chris Benoit-like performance at the Rumble. And yeah, I pretty much am. Like, Zayn is just that type of character go to a distance. I swear, if he doesn't come through for me or Strowman, I lose the game immediately because all my points are on those 2 guys. It's nuts. I'm really riding that wave, but we'll see.
You need for Braun Strowman to be in the Final 4. You need him to get the most eliminations, and you need him to be the last person eliminated. And you need Sami Zayn to be the number 1 entrant, last the longest, be in the Final 4 altogether. That is a ridiculous amount of faith in those guys, and especially Zayn. That's the hilarious part, is that you have 38 points on Sami Zayn, dude.
Honestly, I am willing to go bankrupt if it means I can laugh at him in the end, because that'll be the only thing to ease the pain. If he's so close to WrestleMania and he fails like he has pretty much his entire adult life, it'll be worth it. It'll be painful, but it'll be worth it. So I win either way.
Do you know how many points we have invested total?
How many?
91.
Holy shit.
So with your 38 points invested in Sami Zayn, you have over 40% of your final score invested in Sami Zayn.
Don't tell me how much faith I have in him statistically. It hurts. It really hurts. Oh my god. You know what's funny? It's
You
gonna
want to know how much faith you have in the Zayn Strowman dynamic as a whole?
How much? That's got to be like what, a whopping 90%?
72.5%.
That's actually less than I thought, because I wasn't even kidding about the 90. Like, I am riding that wave hard. It's going to be such a weird live reactions, though, because, again, I've always respected Zayn. You know that. I just can't get into him. So, like, as a fan, if Joe was to come on the scene, you know how I love heel Samoa Joe. Like, I am a straight-up mark for that man. So if he was to eliminate Zayn, it's like, oh my God, I'm really happy for Joe and I'm happy for me as a fan, but my ego, though, like, it's on life support. So I don't know what to do. It's
The
going to
funny
be
thing
such
is,
a
dude, believe it or not, I actually have more points riding on Braun Strowman and the Big Show individually, of course, not combined, than Joe, who I have winning. I only have 15 points invested in Joe between him winning and being in the Final Four. But I have Strowman with 23 points between being in the Final Four and having the most eliminations. And I have Big Show with 18 points between him being the last person to be in the Rumble, last the least amount of time, and make the Final Four. So, yeah, it's, I don't know. My Big Show picks might not be the best, but he did declare that he was going to be in the Rumble, so at least there's a chance of that. I went about this logically, knowing that Joe isn't in the Rumble, and I invested as little as you can in somebody that you think is going to be in the Rumble and win it without actually knowing they're going to be in it for sure.
Yeah, dude, I mean, here's my thing, right? Like, I totally get why you're investing so much in Joe, even though we don't even know if he's going to be in it or not.
15 points. I mean, 15 out of 91. It's not that much of an investment. It's only 16.5%. So.
But I still think it's a wise investment because things have been quiet on the NXT front as far as Joe is concerned.
Yeah. He's
And
not even booked for takeover, dude.
Dude, you know what the funny thing is, too? And I don't say this to like pour salt in any wounds because I know like you do have Big Show as some picks. How funny would it be to build their Mania match if Shaq was one of the surprise entrants and he eliminates the Big Show? Because didn't they do that just last year? So if they do it again, knowing that they're actually going to have a match, like that would not surprise me at all.
There's no way that was last.
Or was that the Andre? Or was that the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal?
Yeah, that's what it was. It was the armbar. Yeah.
So yeah, what if Shaq tries his luck again in the Battle Royal, except it's the Royal Rumble, and then yeah, he eliminates Joe.
Oh my God.
Oh, that, you know what though? If they do that, I'll be pissed because on one end I'll get why they did it, but even if I'm wrong in my point value, this Rumble really does need to focus on Strowman in one form or another. Like, you need to make him come out and look like a monster. If Kane's record wasn't already broken by Roman, I need to flip my hair before all high impact offense reigns. I'd give it to Strowman. You know, because Strowman, if he were to break that record, I think nobody
went back and listened to our Rumble reactions from 2014. And for those of you that haven't heard them, you're missing out. They're amazing. The audio quality is absolute trash, but the reactions are gold. And there was one point in that match where I even said, you know, he flips his hair a lot. They might want to give him an arrogant, self-absorbed gimmick so that he can get away with that. And he still does it, and people still hate him, so I'm happy.
Arrogant, self-absorbed. He straight up told Kevin Owens, who's the Universal Champion, to his face, oh, it doesn't matter because, you know, I am the one thing you'll never be. The guy. Like, yeah. Dude, eat a dick. I don't fucking know. I'm so done with Roman Reigns. Oh, God. But yeah, I'm so excited for Rumble.
We only have one other game left, and we already performed the fantasy mock draft, or whatever you want to call it, with the numbers. My mom got numbers 27, 3. Actually, I should arrange these in order from lowest to highest so that we know when to start cheering for people. So my mom got 3, 4, 5, 11, 12, 19, 22, 24, 26, and 27. Got 1, 2, 6, 8, 10, 16, 15, 20, 25, and 28. And I obviously averaged much higher numbers because I only have 2 single-digit numbers. I got 7, 9, 13, 14, 17, 18, 23, 21, 29, and 30. But really, I'll arrange the numbers in order so that we don't have to worry about that kind of chaos. and we will have everybody that comes out. I will write their name down next to the number, and that will be our team for the Rumble. And whoever's team or whoever has a member of their team win the Royal Rumble wins the third game. And the way that we do it is the winner, the person who wins the most, in other words, if somebody wins two of the three, or if it's a three-way tie, but one person in particular had a really dominant outing in one of the three games or whatever, wins the Royal Rumble predictions game. I don't think we actually have any real prize, although technically that person then picks last in the Rumble pick draft the following year, because it's kind of like, the NFL, where the best person or the best team goes last and the worst goes first. I got the first pick this year, you guys, because I got the worst picks last year. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed Rumble preview predictions. John, do you have anything else that you would like to add before we close this thing out?
Nah, brother, I'm psyched for the Rumble. Should be great. And again, this is just really beginning what's going to be a content-packed week for TwitWow. So looking forward to it.
Exactly, ladies and gentlemen. John said it, content-packed week coming up. Be sure to stay tuned, because tomorrow night, Wednesday night at 9 p.m., we will be doing an NXT review. Thursday, we will be doing an NXT TakeOver San Antonio preview and predictions. Friday, we have Q&A. Make sure to get your questions in for that. Saturday, we will be doing live reactions to NXT TakeOver San Antonio. Sunday, Royal Rumble live reactions. And then Monday and Tuesday, we are back in the saddle again, people. Monday Night Raw review after Raw, and Saturday, no words, English. Tuesday night SmackDown live review on Tuesday. Like I said, back in the saddle again. We are going back to reviewing Raws and SmackDowns for 8 months. Buckle up, buckaroos, because it's going to be interesting. Here we come. That said, though, ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to support TwitWow, patreon.com/TwitWow or teespring.com/stores/TwitWow. Support us on Patreon. If you would like for us to review or live react to a wrestling show that you have in mind that we have never watched before or never reacted to or reviewed before, leave us a donation according to our pricing that we have set up on the Patreon page. And make sure to get in contact with one of us to let us know what show you want us to talk about. Buy a t-shirt at Teespring. We have, I think, 8 different designs up. 7 if you count the I'm a TwitWow guy and I'm a TwitWow girl as the same thing. And finally, make sure to get your questions in for Q&A. If you want to know when our videos get uploaded, you can follow us on Twitter or Facebook or Reddit. My Twitter is at apond404. That's APOND404. John's Twitter is at John_TwitWow, and his first name is John with an H, not just JON. /TwitWow, reddit.com/r/TwitWow. And finally, subscribe to the channel. You're watching it on YouTube, or at least I'm guessing you are. Hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell button so you get notified when we upload or when we go live, which is actually more important nowadays because we are a live streaming format now that proper Skype recorders on the market anymore. Don't know why, but it's worked out for the best because live streaming is so much easier and more fun because we get to interact with you guys live in the chat. How you doing? So that being said, we're going to close this thing out. Hopefully you all enjoyed our preview predictions. Curious to know what you guys have to say. Leave comments, but also one more thing. Make sure to let us know in the comments after this video gets processed and comments go live what you thought the funniest moments of TwitWow in 2016 were. We've already had a few entries between John Foster's relationship with Becky Lynch, us freaking out about Randy Orton's shoulder segment, the horrible segment or the horrible match involving Goldberg doing a jackhammer on Mongo McMichael or Alex Wright. It was Mongo McMichael versus Alex Wright, but I don't remember who the hell Goldberg did the jackhammer to. And the referee turning around to see him. Cisco getting murdered by the Red Bull. Of course, you can't forget Ricky Mandel being super excited about those pictures, Dario. and many, many more. Make sure that you leave comments letting us know what you thought the funniest moments of Twitwell were in 2016. Oh, and of course, me saying, please don't do this to me when Natalia and Charlotte was about to happen.
Still delicious. Oh, God.
Of course. So, dude, that feud ended up being completely worthless. The whole reason they put Charlotte in that feud was to try and get her better in the ring, and she's still garbage. So, how does that work out for you?
It was completely worthless, like the collective existences that made it possible.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all enjoyed for the last time, hopefully. And make sure to stay tuned for our NXT review tomorrow night.